Circuit Rider, part number 8. And before I start part number 8, I'd like to do a disclaimer. Any similarities between any community or town or anything like that, or names associated with Kentucky, North Carolina, is purely coincidental. So I continue with my novel, Circuit Rider, part number 8. Bobby Jack knew what he had to do, and after hearing Sal speak with her Pleasant Valley folks in a tone she knew Bobby would hear, his mission to this part of North Carolina was a mission he felt was divinely arranged. Even the chance meeting with Sal after the tornado was part of this plan. His first entry into the closed community of Pleasant Valley would go through John Sweeney, the possessed man who was terrorizing the community. Bobby Jack made his plans. He would ride his horse near the entrance of Pleasant Valley. Then he would dismount and walk into the community with nothing but a Bible in his hand. Bobby Jack, in his heart, felt like God had a plan and was leading him, but Bobby Jack would trust the Lord to lead him in the direction he should follow. Bobby Jack spent the next 2 days walking in the nearby forest, praying and talking to the Lord. He could feel the divine strength building in his body and mind. Then he awoke to a beautiful sunny day, and he knew his journey to Pleasant Valley had arrived. After leaving his horse with a farmer 2 miles from Pleasant Valley, he began to walk down the road. The farmer, who agreed to look after his horse, attempted to talk Bobby Jack out of his journey. Bobby Jack thanked the farmer and told him if he did not return in 2 days, he could keep the horse and all that was in the saddlebags. He also had a letter to his folks that should be delivered to them in central Kentucky. Bobby Jack walked up the dirt road that led to Pleasant Valley. He clutched his Bible in his left hand, and it was clear to see how he was clothed. He did not carry a weapon. He first saw some houses off in the distance. He could see the dust from some horsemen riding at full gallop on the road toward him. As the men on horseback came up to him, it was easy to see the look on their faces was not welcoming. Bobby Jack recognized one of them as the person who appeared to be in charge the other day at the building site. He said, "What is your business?" Bobby Jack placed the Bible close to his chest as he replied, "I am here to see John Sweeney." The 3 horsemen displayed their surprise when Bobby Jack said this. The 3 of them almost replied in unison, "John Sweeney." One of the men dismounted and walked up to Bobby Jack and looked him in the eye and told him that he must have a death wish. John Sweeney is a crazy man, and no one can go near his cabin. He is considered by most of the people in these parts as a master marksman and will not hesitate to shoot you if you come near his property. Bobby Jack, in a calm voice, said, "I need to talk to him." One of the other men, who was still mounted, told Bobby Jack they would normally escort any stranger out of the area, but if you are hell-bent on talking to John Sweeney, then he will take care of the stranger problem. The man who Bobby Jack saw overseeing the building project pointed to the top of the hill and a cabin. "That's where John Sweeney lives, and you will find a wagon road around the bend leading off this road and up to his cabin. If you gentlemen will let me pass, that is where I am going," Bobby Jack said. Bobby Jack smiled at the men and began walking toward the spot where he could see the wagon road leading up to John Sweeney's cabin. The three mounted men let Bobby Jack get about 50 yards ahead, and they slowly started following him up the road. Bobby Jack did not look back, but he could hear the horses. He saw the wagon road leading up to John Sweeney's cabin. Bobby Jack paused momentarily and placed the Bible up to his face and asked again for strength. Before he started up the wagon road, he turned and looked at the three men following him. They were expressionless as they stopped and looked ahead in anticipation of seeing a killing this day. The first thing Bobby Jack heard came from the front porch of the cabin. "Hold on there, buddy. If you take one more step toward my cabin, I will shoot you between the eyes." Bobby Jack continued to walk slowly toward the cabin. The sound of a projectile passing near you at the speed of sound is something most people have never heard. Bobby Jack was hearing that sound only inches from his head. John Sweeney did not need to reload because he had several weapons lined up on the cabin porch. After he fired the first round, he picked up another and fired again. Bobby could hear the whiz of the projectiles before he heard the weapon. The next two shots were in rapid motion as John Sweeney grabbed the weapons to fire in short order. A total of 5 rounds were fired at Bobby Jack, and the projectiles could not have been more than a few inches from Bobby Jack's head. When John Sweeney raised to fire the 6th round, he dropped the weapon and he froze, falling back on the porch railing. When Bobby Jack walked up on the porch of the cabin, John Sweeney was white as a sheet, and he was shaking. He said, "Who are you? I could not hit you with my shots, and when I raised my weapon to fire on you at close range, I saw my mother standing beside you with her arms extended toward me. I am Bobby Jack from Central Kentucky, and I was supposed to come to this place in North Carolina to preach the good news and lead people to accept Jesus. I was led to you, John Sweeney, and you are the one I was sent to tell about Jesus. Don't ask me why it was you, because I can only tell you that was how the Lord was leading me." John Sweeney was the first person Bobby Jack led to Jesus. The three men who followed Bobby Jack and witnessed what happened in front of John Sweeney's cabin also accepted Jesus as their Lord and Savior. The three men saw the angel walking with Bobby Jack, and they said their horses froze in place and would not move. Bobby Jack did not see any of this, but he knew the power of God, and Jesus was walking with him. At that exact moment, all the men standing in John Sweeney's yard knew something spectacular had just happened in Pleasant Valley, and the place would never be the same. None of them, not even Bobby Jack, knew exactly how the Lord was going to work in a place called Pleasant Valley, North Carolina. Bobby Jack could hardly wait to see Sal and share this event with her. Bobby Jack at this time did not know he would never leave Pleasant Valley for Central Kentucky again.